So our next position is Deputy President Welfare. So first, a video from Jenny, our current DPW.
My name is Jenny Watson, I'm Deputy President Welfare. So my job basically involves looking after student support and wellbeing services, but also supporting students to run the sort of campaigns that they want to run within the university, and also supporting some political engagement. I think the thing I like the most about my job is knowing that the things I'm doing, the ideas that I'm putting forward, are actually having very broad, wide-ranging impacts on a lot of students all in one go. I think the biggest challenge with all of these ideas is convincing people in the college that something that's quite radical and innovative is a good idea, and actually trying to push that through to people that are quite set in their ways and not necessarily used to coming up with new ways of doing things can be very difficult. But at the same time, there's nothing better than the feeling of knowing that someone big in college has just told you that your idea is a really good idea and that they're going to try and do it. I think I wish I'd known that it wasn't going to be the same as my previous role, which was being the welfare officer for ICS MSU, for medics. In that job, it was very sort of individual based, sort of talking to people one-to-one, supporting them dealing with their day-to-day challenges, the problems that they were facing at university. And I thought that this role would be a lot like that, but now it's a lot more about connecting the dots and thinking about why there are students getting into those sorts of situations and tackling root causes rather than managing day-to-day solutions.
Welfare needs to be
people can approach with different problems and issues, although you can deal with individual students having individual issues. It's also really important to work with groups of students and sort of help people achieve what they want. So although you go into the role with like so many different ideas of things you want to do, a huge part of it is sort of enabling students to sort of navigate the union and college and do their own campaigns. So Jenny this year has been working with the Medics Union for all of the junior doctor contract issues. And then tonight she's working with the LGBT officer to put on the transgender healthcare workshop. So all of these ideas, because you're coming from one perspective, your experience of Imperial, but obviously everyone else's opinions are equally as important. And so it's working with other students to get what they want from the welfare system is like just as vital as whatever you think is the most important thing to you.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Great, so I think back to Paul in the studio for the Deputy President Welfare candidates.
Thanks, Nathaniel. There are an incredible 7 candidates for Deputy President Welfare, 6 of whom are here tonight. Millie Tsang was unable to join due to circumstances outside of her control, but you can read hers and all the other candidates' manifestos at imperialcollegeunion.org/manifestos. Our candidates here tonight are Denholm, Akash, Emma, Claudia, Emily Jane and Deborah. We're going to hear a short opening statement by all of them. So firstly, Denholm.
Hi, I'm Denholm, a final year aeronautics student. University is about your education, but it's also about your welfare, and this is when the college can sometimes overlook. University is also Imperial is a leading institution in all fields, but student satisfaction is consistently ranked below average, and I want to change this. A lot of hard work and dedication has been put into many projects by previous deputy presidents and presidents, and I want to continue building on these whilst introducing new ways of tackling important issues. I feel I have the drive and the passion to be able to make Imperial a better place for you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Akash.
Hi, my name is Akash, and
I've been RCSU welfare officer since 2014. I was part of the team that was behind Treat Yourself, the welfare week that happened last week, and there's going to be another one, which is going to be soon. My main policies are centralizing all your professional and personal contacts so you can access anyone you want to meet inside the college immediately. Helping student-run campaigns get the light of the day, like IT sexism and mentality, and be available in JCR and SCR every week so that I can talk to you and you can tell me about your problems.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm running for Welfare Officer for much of the same reasons as my fellow candidates. I want to improve the student experience here at Imperial, but I also want that to extend beyond university. Life is much more than just a good degree, and I want students to leave this place employable but also happy, whether that be by providing mental and academic support for all students, or pushing for cheaper housing, or campaigning against the imposition of rising tuition fees. Anything at all that will increase the financial burden on our students. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Claudia.
Hi, my name is Claudia and I'm running for Deputy President Welfare because you deserve better mental health care, support and reintegration at all times. Because you deserve more and faster financial support. Because you deserve to develop yourself within a community that not only accepts diversity but rather actively promotes it. If you'd like to change this, we need to work together. So if you're on board, please vote for Claudia for welfare.
Thank you. Next candidate is Emily Jane.
Hi, I'm Emily Jane and I'm running for Deputy President Welfare because I've had a range of welfare issues while I've been studying here, and I know many people have too. I've dedicated a lot of my life to working towards better mental health services and more awareness on a national and on a university level. And I think the skills that I've acquired doing these campaigns and all this work will really help me to kickstart greater change at Imperial to make this place a better place to study.
Thank you. And we also have Deborah.
I'm Deborah and I'm a candidate with extensive experience dealing with welfare issues. I've been a subwarden at Dott for 2 years, and during this time I've helped many students deal with welfare concerns such as mental health problems, financial hardship or disabilities. Helping these students, I've worked extensively with the college tutors, departmental tutors, as well as currents during sabbaticals. During that time, I've also been a PhD student, a graduate teaching assistant, a society president, and a foster carer for cats and kittens. I want to bring my expertise and my dedication to the union as Deputy President of Welfare.
Thank you very much. I also have some questions for the candidates. So, firstly, for Denholm, we all know mental health is a major problem at Imperial. If you could do just one thing to improve that, what would it be?
So a lot of hard work has been done by the current DPW to implement mental health first aid training to all sub-wardens and wardens. And I want to implement this to all senior tutors and personal tutors eventually, because a lot of people are told that their personal tutors are there for their pastoral care, but they're often failed by having personal tutors who are less experienced and don't particularly know what to do. And I've myself have experienced this, and I don't want anyone else to go through this. But I know there are also good and bad personal tutors, so I want to implement a stole-inspired personal tutor review to be able to get the personal tutors to understand the areas that they may be lacking, but the areas that they also may be good at doing, and also learning from other personal tutors around the college.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm
going to ask you another question, but if you want to add something on, that's fine. Gender equality is high on the agenda as well at the college at the moment. What do you think is the biggest problem facing women students at Imperial, and what would you do to tackle it? And if you also want to add something on, that's fine.
The biggest problem is, I think the biggest problem with both of those things is the stigma that people have. Firstly, I'll answer about the sexism thing. The STEM subjects that we have are highly dominated by male students, as we know, but girls are rising, and it's really nice that they're finally getting what they deserve, and everybody's trying to catch up. And we all want to aim for equality, but it's not an ideal world. It'll take time, it'll take effort, and I think.
So, what can you do to change it? That's the question.
I think I'll start by media campaigning and like just getting the word out initially that it's okay. Like you can study whatever you want. It doesn't have to be just specific to whatever your gender is. It has to be more than that. It has to be what you like, what you're passionate about. So I think launching media campaigns about fighting this should be effective.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. A question to Emma. What do you plan to do to support underrepresented groups at Imperial?
Well, I'm the current LGBT plus officer. Liberation officers in general, of which there are 7, I believe, are a great way of representing all subgroups. But in a full-time course, it's very difficult to commit any sort of time to that. So what I would propose is doubling the number of each of the liberation officers, therefore halving the workload, but also pushing for more publicity and exposure of these groups, so more LGBT plus type events, of which one is running right now in Charing Cross. Also interfaith officers and BME, etc. We have a massive international community here, but I feel like when it comes to welfare, they're very underrepresented. Okay. So in my proposed introduction of an instant messaging counselling application, I would also propose branches of that were to deal with more specific subgroups, a more personalised approach.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, keep moving on. Next question is: the union has an advice centre that supports students. How will you work with the advice centre staff to help improve the support available to students at Imperial?
Well, first of all, I think there isn't enough advertising for all the advice and support materials at Imperial. Because it happens a lot that people do encounter certain problems, yet they don't exactly know who to talk to about them. It is said over and over again that they should contact their hall seniors or their personal tutors or their year coordinators, but still this is information that they have to actively search, and when they are in a difficult situation, they are not quite motivated to search too much for information. So it should be more readily available and more in your face, so to say. Okay, thank you very much.
Next question is, students may approach you with deeply personal information, asking for help. How would you react in this situation?
This is something that I actually have a lot of experience with. I've done a lot of work kind of throughout my life, reaching out to people with mental health problems, giving them advice, pointing them in the right direction. And I've worked with Mentality as one of the founding members, so we've had a lot of people coming up to us and asking for support, where to turn. And I guess it's just giving people the right options and telling them where to turn, but also making sure that you look after your own welfare, because if you get too involved, then you can't help anybody.
Okay, thank you very much. And the last question, how would you work with other student unions to make change on a wider scale?
Precise wider scale.
So kind of nationally or kind of, I don't know, is there anything else that you could think that you could draw on other resources?
Absolutely, yes. So many of the issues that we face at Imperial are not actually unique. There's been a rise of mental health problems nationally across all student bodies, and I think especially within London, many colleges share the same problems that we do in terms of housing, in terms of maybe some of the issues with sexism that people experience in their everyday life. I think sharing ideas, sharing resources with some of the closer colleges, whether that be UCL, LSE, Queen's Mary, maybe set up communal structures in terms of sharing resources of counselling and access to healthcare systems, that could be a way forward. But generally, it would also be a really good opportunity to push forward on some of the important campaigns, notably some of the awareness campaigns relating to sexism, mental health, and discrimination.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so the same question to 3 people this time, so one at a time, obviously. How would you work with other Sebastals and staff to achieve maximum impact? So this is within the union, and so I'm going to ask this to Claudia first.
Well, I know that the candidates for president as well, they do want to focus on welfare because it's gained a lot of traction really throughout the college and throughout the union. So I'm convinced that there will be support for advertising the solutions available for welfare and for actually implementing campaigns. So power really lies in numbers, and by myself I wouldn't be able to do much.
Okay, same question to Emily Jane.
So I guess it's about working as a team. Like Claudia said, power lies in numbers, and communicating with the president obviously is very important. The education officer is hugely important because people's education and the level of stress is really adding to the mental health problems on campus. Liberation officers, so you can really communicate with people from minority groups that might feel excluded, and just really communicating with everybody so that everyone's on the same page and everyone is communicating and knowing how to help people and where to signpost people.
Okay, thank you very much. And Deborah, do you have anything to add to that?
So having worked with the union sabbaticals on a number of issues, I've seen how they operate. It's very much like a team, and sometimes people jump into roles in order to fulfill them. So for example, on disciplinary or welfare cases, it often happens that it's not necessarily the welfare officer who fills that role. I see myself doing a similar thing for other issues, and notably with any cases of campaigning for change towards the college or negotiating issues with the college representatives, it's going to be very important to work as a team, to complement each other's efforts and ideas in order to make a strong case.
Okay, thank you. So I have a different question for people on this side. So how would you link up with the existing student networks, such as clubs, societies or constituent unions, to create campaigns that reach students? So I'll start with Akash this time.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so how would you link up with existing groups, so societies, unions, to create campaigns that reach students?
So I think, first of all, you need to, whatever problem that you need to address, you can bring it up in the union council or have a poll online on any social media platform, Facebook probably, and have a proper discussion about what people want out of what solution can people offer themselves, and then the union should act accordingly, because like the girl said, that it's important to work in a team, and if you don't listen to the students themselves, then what's the point?
Okay, thank you. And the same question to Denholm.
So I'm part of the hockey club, and we do have quite a few issues surrounding some things like mental health as well. But it is a very, very inclusive environment. So I think it's very important that all the presidents talk within their clubs and societies to ask around if there are any issues that they would like to be changed or anything that they would like to bring up. And it's important to get all the clubs and societies involved in this so that they can campaign to be able to make things better in any kind of society, so sports, so the art societies, and everything like that. So I think it's very important that they talk to the people inside the clubs and societies.
Okay, and same question to Emma.
Well, in my manifesto, I proposed that all incoming clubs and SOCs, captains and welfare officers are able to be funded to go through the mental health training that I know I attended and many people did. There's quite a high demand for it. So if everyone was able to attend it, then obviously that would be good. But also it depends, particularly on what the campaign issue is, on how you handle it and what clubs you reach out to. First, I think it's important you ask the clubs and societies what events are most best attended, so therefore you get a feel of the idea of what the club runs as. But for example, for like gender equality, it extends much further than academics, and it extends so much further than this university, to the extent I don't know a single person my age who hasn't faced some sort of harassment. And it's just working with clubs that there's stigma surrounding groups of certain people, specifically groups of men, Not all men are like that for one reason, but also by working with these people and by having them promote the campaign, then I really think it'll have a much wider reach.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the last question, so the same question for every candidate. In one sentence, how would you solve the mental health crisis at Imperial? So I'm going to start at this end. I'm sorry, go this way this time. So firstly to Deborah, how would you try solve the mental health crisis at Imperial?
It's a two-front problem. It's awareness and it's provision of support structure. So increase awareness, decrease stigmatization around mental health problems, but also reinforce the support side. More counselling, more GP hours, whether that's on campus or off campus.
Okay, thank you.
I think, like Deborah said, it needs to be tackled from different angles. I've worked extensively with mentality to improve awareness of stigma, like reducing stigma. And we've also seen a huge response from college, and I think you have to take the angle of like kind of lobbying college, campaigning for change, but also making students aware of where they can go, working with the health centre, maybe looking to get college to free up which health centres you can go to for documentation for exams, because that's a big problem.
Okay, so it must be one sentence, sorry.
Sorry.
It's all right, don't worry.
In one sentence.
So in one sentence, how would you try and solve the mental health crisis?
Educate everyone on mental health issues and leave no one behind.
Okay, thank you. Emma?
Personally, I think it's all about a sense of community, whether that's between staff and the union and students, but most importantly, between students. Have them talk to each other more than they talk to people above them.
Okay, thank you. Akash?
Communication is key, and as long as you understand that it's okay to have mental health issues and it can be dealt with, that's fine.
Okay, Denholm?
I think that it's important to talk to your friends, and you need to raise awareness around any issues surrounding that you're going through. And I think that I think a lot of people need to be aware of the options that they have. So getting more people trained in mental health first aid. So I've attended it myself, and it just to raise awareness and just make sure that everyone knows that this is not a small issue, it's a big issue.
Okay. Thank you very much to all of our candidates. Now we're going back to the studio.
Thanks, Paul. First of all, it's great to see so many candidates standing for DPW. I think students have really got quite a lot of choice this year, and I hope that the best candidate wins.
They're happy to be.
So, Marissa, in one sentence, I can give you as many comments as you like, but still only one sentence. How would you solve the mental health crisis?
No, sorry, I'm going to have to put a full stop in. I've just had to think. So, I went to this conference about mental health when I was a sabbatical officer, and so the statistic that everyone bandies around is 1 in 3 people have a mental illness. But at the conference, it was made clear that 3 out of 3 people have mental health. So, as well as focusing on being aware of mental illness, helping mental illness, decreasing stigma around mental illness, it's also about helping students take a holistic approach to their own well-being. And going back to the question we asked them about, how you work with other societies, this is where it's so clear. Like sports teams, we know that physical activity and your mental health are like intrinsically linked.
And we've all been to union on a Wednesday night to see what sports teams get up to. So.
Well, that might not be a fair representation of all they do. And then working with DP, so having a good course structure, support from your personal tutor. It's people always ask the DPW this question because we're the sort of soft, fluffy ones that you go to with your problems. But really, it's everyone's responsibility. Every single sabbatical officer has a role to play in ensuring people are happy at this university, and that's why everyone's running, really.
I think the union has done a lot of work in the last recent years. If we go way back, DPW and DPE were at the same position. So I think
dark days, yeah.
So a lot of work has been done. So now, I guess if we're turning to college and what college can do you really think that personal tutors can help students? Are they the right people to be at the front line for mental health and welfare issues?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Okay, so no, I definitely think so, because that's what the roles are currently advertised as. They are there to, guide the students, especially in the first years or when people start. They're the go-to person for any problems they have. So a student can come and say, I don't understand this course, but at the same time they can say, I'm just feeling so down, not motivated for this at all. And then we need personal tutors at that point to be able to either help them directly or to point them in the right direction. And this is an important issue that was mentioned. The personal tutoring scheme is a bit like a lottery. So you either get a personal tutor that is good, that is capable, who know their stuff, or you get someone who's not interested at all, who's just being put there. Yeah. And that's all I have to say.
I guess I come from an academic background, being a postdoc now. I see that personal tutors are lecturers, they have research groups, they have PhD students that are there to look after. They have an incredible amount of work to be doing in their day-to-day job. Is there anything more that college could perhaps be doing, Marissa, that could help students and for welfare issues? Or what's the college up to at the moment?
Well, I was 13, 14, but... Well, I think they're doing a lot at the moment. So it was mentioned the mental health first aid training. I mean, that's a new scheme. It started in my year and it's been carrying on, rolled out, and it's always oversubscribed because a lot of people in college are very, aware that mental health is a problem and they want to get involved with being part of the solution. So yeah, training people to recognise mental health problems and how to have that conversation. I think a lot of people can be reluctant to ask people, how they're feeling. If you think someone's down, sometimes you just sort of don't want to go there in case they start crying and then that would be the worst thing in the world for some reason. So I think it's the sort of best part of that training is it's getting people the confidence to just say, are you okay? Can I do something for you? And it's such a little thing, but if you are, feeling isolated, alone, and you do have maybe not even a mental health problem, but you are feeling, your mental health is suffering, having someone just ask you can be really, really powerful. And, anyone can do that. You don't need training, but it is helping.
But still, it's good to know that these people are there, and if we can all help to help someone else's mental health, then that's only going to be a good thing.
I think we're having Sket coming back.
Okay, well, we've got another minute to go. So, Pascal, as you're aware of DPE, do you think that DPE can do more to help DPW?
I'm glad you asked this question. Yes. So, like you mentioned before, it used to be one row, and there's a reason for that because it's just so intertwined. And from my experience as well, the mums and dads scheme strikes out because that one is just so crucial as well because you have a lot of a lot of students coming in. They just graduated from school. They have no idea what they're doing at university, so they need a lot of guidance, and that's what the Moms and Dads scheme is there for. So the DPE is in the perfect position to support the DPW for that.
Brilliant, thank you, Pascal. So I think that's all from us.